Hi, I'm Rob Schnepp. I'm a retired special operations chief from the Alameda County Fire Department in California. About 30 years of experience in the fire service, 27 of those years in hazardous materials response. When I think back over the years in hazmat and my exposure to it, I think there's been several changes along the way. Most notably, it started with personal protective equipment. I think back in the late 80s, PPE was very bulky and heavy, and I don't know that it was well understood of matching the hazard to the personal protective equipment. It was a bit more scripted back then. And since then, there's been tremendous improvements in the durability, tremendous improvements in the testing and the regulatory piece of personal protective equipment. Detection and monitoring has come a very long way. Some of that was driven, I think, by September 11th, and the vendor market really was clamoring to meet the demand of fire departments all across the country and all across the world for that matter. The tools and equipment have really changed and improved, but I also think the impact on the responder and also the training, quite frankly, has improved quite a bit. I think we're now in a good place with technology, with training, with the responders, and with all of the components coming together to make it all really seamless when it comes to incident response. I think as an industry, we've become more attuned to hazmat incidents when in the past maybe they weren't necessarily categorized or classified as hazmat incidents. And so I think people have gotten more experience over the years. And I think that experience has prompted evolution and revolution in training. In my own agency, we used operational level responders to help with technical decontamination and perimeter control and setting up in exclusionary zones and those sorts of things. And so I think what it's really done is allowed teams to kind of pick and choose what they need, do the training based on what the threat assessment and the community risk assessments are, and been able to tailor the training to the responses that are really pertinent and germane to their regions. It's really about understanding what's important in your region. Not all regions in the country or around the world are the same. And I think the very basics of training comes down to matching the risks to the responders and training them appropriately to manage those risks. There's no substitution that's better than actually getting out and seeing it and getting into the suit and experiencing low visibility and experiencing uncomfortableness and experiencing working with radio communications and trying to think under pressure and under all the environmental things that happen there and using the devices and thinking through the problems. In scenario based training, it's really important to figure out what the pathway is and what the end game is to make sure that all responders get it and understand what the need is. It's really important not to chase the flavor of the month issue that is in the news media to drive your training programs. We have to make sure as leaders in these authorities having jurisdiction that we stick to the mission and that we pay attention to what's really important for us. If it's really a very low risk piece, then maybe other things should percolate higher up on your priority list when it comes to training. But I don't think we should allow the headlines of the news media to drive where we go next with the training, because to me, that causes us to kind of chase detection tools, kind of trying to buy our way out of problems based on threats and things that have happened around jurisdictions, but may not be really the most important thing to us. It's important to also acknowledge that there are new and emerging threats, and those new and emerging threats are important for us to identify. I think it's really important to just stay laser focused on what are the things that really pose a threat to us in our authority having jurisdiction, and how do we address it in the most really pragmatic way